Picture this. It's the blistering hot summer of 1925. In the tiny, quiet town of Dayton, Tennessee, a storm is brewing. But it's not a weather storm. It's a legal and cultural firestorm that would capture the attention of the entire world, pitting two of America's greatest minds against each other in a battle over one of science's most foundational ideas: evolution. This wasn't just any court case. This was the Scopes monkey trial, a spectacle that would forever change the conversation about science, religion, and what we teach our children in school. Welcome to G-Fun Facts Online, where today we're putting history under the microscope. So how did this all kick off? It started with a law. In March of 1925, Tennessee passed the Butler Act. This law made it illegal for any public school teacher to teach any theory that denied the biblical story of divine creation and, specifically, to teach that humans descended from a lower order of animals. The American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, saw this as a direct attack on free speech and academic freedom. They immediately put out a call, offering to defend any teacher brave enough to challenge the law. And that's where a 24-year-old high school teacher named John T. Scopes enters the picture. Now here's a fun fact. Scopes wasn't even the regular biology teacher. He was a math and science teacher who had just filled in for a few weeks. In fact, he couldn't even remember for sure if he had actually taught the chapter on evolution from the state-mandated textbook. But local businessmen, hoping to put their small town of Dayton on the map, cooked up a plan. They convinced Scopes to agree to be the defendant, to essentially incriminate himself, just to create a test case. It was part civic duty, part publicity stunt. And a publicity stunt it became. From July 10th to the 21st, Dayton, Tennessee transformed into a full-blown carnival. Reporters flocked in from London and Hong Kong. Hundreds of spectators packed the town. The trial even featured the first-ever live radio broadcast from a courthouse, sending the drama out over the airwaves across the nation. It got so hot and crowded inside the courtroom that the judge eventually moved the entire proceeding outdoors, onto the courthouse lawn. But the real main event wasn't just the trial itself. It was the two legal giants at its center. On the side of the prosecution was William Jennings Bryan, a three-time presidential candidate and a fiery, devout religious leader. He saw the trial as a crusade, a chance to publicly defeat the theory of evolution once and for all. And defending John Scopes? The legendary and famously agnostic defense attorney Clarence Darrow. Darrow was a leading member of the ACLU, and he couldn't resist the chance to go head-to-head with his old rival, Bryan. This was more than a trial. It was an ideological duel. The most stunning moment came when Darrow did something audacious. He called the prosecutor, William Jennings Bryan, to the witness stand as an expert on the Bible. For over 2 hours, Darrow grilled Bryan on his literal interpretations of the Bible. Did Jonah really live inside a whale for 3 days? Did Joshua really make the sun stand still? It was a riveting cross-examination that highlighted the deep rift between a literal reading of Scripture and modern scientific understanding. In the end, the jury didn't have much to decide. Scopes had admitted to breaking the law. They found him guilty in just 9 minutes, and he was fined $100. But here's the twist. The verdict was later overturned by the Tennessee Supreme Court on a technicality. They said the judge, not the jury, had improperly set the fine. So, who really won? In the court of public opinion, Darrow and the cause of science seemed to have the upper hand. The trial had forced a national conversation, but the immediate impact on education was actually the opposite. This is what's known as a chilling effect. Fearing controversy, textbook publishers started watering down or completely removing sections on evolution. Other states, like Mississippi and Arkansas, passed their own anti-evolution laws. For decades, the teaching of evolution in America was largely suppressed. It took a Cold War rivalry to change things. When the Soviet Union launched Sputnik in the 1950s, it sparked a massive push in the US to improve science education to catch up. New, federally funded textbooks were developed that placed evolution right where it belonged, as the central, unifying principle of biology. This set the stage for new legal challenges. Finally, in 1968, in a landmark case called Epperson v. Arkansas, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down state laws banning the teaching of evolution. They ruled that such laws violated the Constitution because they amounted to the government establishing a religion. But the fight wasn't over, it just evolved. Opponents changed tactics. Instead of banning evolution, they argued for creation science to be taught alongside it. The Supreme Court shut that down too in 1987, saying it was just religion in a lab coat. In recent years, the argument shifted again to something called intelligent design, the idea that life is too complex to have arisen by chance and must have been guided by an intelligent cause. But in 2005, a federal court ruled that intelligent design was, again, just a form of creationism and couldn't be taught in public school science classes. Nearly a century later, the Scopes monkey trial still stands as a watershed moment. It laid bare the cultural tension between science and certain religious beliefs in America that continues to this day. While evolution is overwhelmingly accepted by the scientific community, the debate over its place in the classroom still simmers. The trial of John Scopes is a powerful reminder of the constant struggle for academic freedom and the vital importance of ensuring that our education is based on evidence and scientific inquiry. The echoes of that sweltering summer in Dayton are still with us, reminding us to keep the doors of knowledge wide open for everyone.